Thank you so much, Joe, and thanks to all the speakers for their contribution. I would like to talk about all those victims, all the detained human rights defenders and prisoners of conscience in UAE, and including many of them who I know them very well, such as Ahmed Mansour, who's on the advisory board of the Gulf Center for Human Rights. Now, we witnessed in recent years many trends across the MENA region, such as the closure of civic space, targeting of human rights defenders on fabricated charges just due to their peaceful and legitimate human rights work, and treating them worse than criminals. In addition to the fact that the public freedoms in general, such as freedom of expression, freedom of peaceful assembly, all are not recognized or respected. And when we speak about UAE, I have to say that the authorities continue to implement their systematic repressive policies, which include, as I said, targeting human rights activists and restricting public freedoms. It is a fact that the UAE authorities still refuse to release 48 prisoners of conscience, uh, although they served their full sentence. Now, criminals always they could be released after serving two-thirds of their sentence. Due to all the amnesties that are given to them in the Eid, which is Muslims' festivals. Now, no, even one single prisoner of conscience was included in all these amnesties. All the amnesties are given to criminals. So defenders and activists, they have to serve the full sentence. And after that, they will keep them in a prison. Now, all that are said, then there are a lot of restrictions on freedom of opinion and the freedom of the press. Just recently, the authorities closed down Al Ru'ya, a newspaper in Dubai, and there's no time to talk about that. But about 90 staff they lost their jobs after they were forced to resign. There are a lot of documentation by the international community, by the international mechanisms, including the UN system, about violations in UAE. So there is kind of a collective judgment that UAE is brutal when it's about human rights. The state security apparatus really needs to be talked about all the time due to the way they treated prisoners of conscience and their families. They targeted not just the prisoners of conscience, but also their families and their friends. Now, I just go to quickly to a few notes that I have, and including the fact that there is no any local remedy, like when you have a violation against your rights as a citizen, where you go, there is no any local remedy. So, witnessing that, GCHR, the Gulf Center for Human Rights, we try since 2018 to use the international, the concept of international jurisdiction. So, in cooperation with a human rights lawyer, William Borden in France, we managed to put a case against Major General Ahmed Nasser al-Risi, who is now the head of the Interpol, for involvement in the torture of my colleague Ahmed Mansour. Now, Ahmed Mansour, my colleague, he was arrested on the 20th of March 2017. Still, until now, as we speak, still he is on solitary confinement, only in a small cell, isolated from the outside world, with only his clothes on him. No books, no access to any sport or any proper medical care. Now, Major General Raisi joined the police force in UAE in 1980. He became the General Inspector of the Ministry of Interior in 2017. So surely he is involved in the torture of my colleague. And on that basis, we made a case against him in France, and it is still before the judiciary in France. In addition to that, I believe strongly that the unconditional support that is given by countries such as US and UK, probably one of the main reasons of why we have seen this deterioration in the human rights situation in UAE and in other Gulf countries and some other countries in the MENA region. I have to mention two prisoners of conscience. They are both female, Amina Al-Aboudi and Maryam Al-Blushi. Now they serve the full sentence, and in order for authorities to keep them in prison, they created a new charge against them. It's called publishing false information, disturbing public order. Surely this is a fabricated charge. It is mainly designed to keep them in a prison. In addition to Al-Abdouli and Al-Blushi, we have another 46 prisoners of conscience still in prison, although they served their full sentence. And what the authorities are saying about that, they are using just some repressive legislations to keep them in prison on the basis that they need rehabilitation, and they are putting them in counseling centers, or what it's called in Arabic munasaha, Marakiz and Munasaha. Now, I will just give you one example so you know what's going on. Like we have the prisoner of conscience, member of many groups who are still in prison. But Abdullah Ibrahim Al-Hulu was arrested on the 22nd of April 2014. Now, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. He served the full sentence on the 22nd April of the year 2017. Still, he is in rehabilitation. What kind of rehabilitation? More than 5 years is in rehabilitation. 5 years is enough to get a PhD degree. So what's going on? Surely the Emiratis, they are doing their best to keep all the prisoners of conscience, those who serve their full sentence in prison, including all members of UOE 94. And I want to talk about one of them. He's my colleague. I know him very well, Dr. Muhammad Rukun, a specialist in constitutional law, a well-known human rights defender, international figure. Now, such personality should be celebrated, but he is still in prison, although he completed his full sentence. Now, if we talk about families, they were all targeted, and the citizenship revoked for many members of their families. This is just unbelievable. Now, what is the solution? I mean, there is no any prosperous future without respecting the civil and human rights of citizens. Now, if you are going to this degree that you are keeping people in prison for no reason, just for their peaceful human rights activities, then that is the end of it. Because you can't say anymore, we have a civilized state in United Arab Emirates. So I use what is left in my time to call on all the international mechanisms, including the UN system, all the governments that have influence in UAE, in particular the US and the UK, to do what they could. And they have influence. They have to put the pressure to make sure that those innocent people who are still in prison, although they serve their full sentence, they are now 48, but the number could increase slightly in the coming days because other members of the UAE 94 are going to complete their sentence. Those people are innocent and they should be released immediately. And also, I call on all those who are working on human rights in UAE to make sure that authorities are going to change this policy of repression. They have to respect public freedoms in the country. They have to respect freedom of expression for all citizens and freedom of peaceful assembly. That is the way forward for any civilized country. I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the success in this meeting. Thank you.